Well, we're living here in Pasadena because we grew up here. We went to school here. That's how we met. And we were living here for like a long time. But then the rent started getting like high. So we had to move to like Temple City, El Monte. And we were just there, like I would say, just for a couple of months. And every day we had to drive here in Pasadena because the kids were still in school, the kids were doing sports here. So our life practically was here in Pasadena, and we would drive back home just late at night just to sleep. And the next day, the same thing, coming back. So it was kind of hard. And then like that's when we decided to come back and look for like an apartment here in Pasadena.
We decided, we were at a better time and place now to get our own place. Right, let's just go for it. Let's get our own apartment, a single bedroom apartment, but we made it work. I mean, that was like our little home when it did us our justice when we needed it. It was our place. I think for me and my wife, I mean, being a homeowner was just a thought sometime in the future. And, we both were working. We both knew what it was probably going to take, but we knew there was going to be some lifestyle changes if that was going to be the case. We had to consider either we're going to go up to the Lancaster, Palmdale area, or we're going to move out of state, or we're going to go up by the San Bernardino area or even further out. So we knew it was going to be distant from our friends, our family.
Most of my family, they live here, like close by. Yeah. So it will have like a huge impact on my kids because they're always been around. It's like they're our support. And I know my mom, it was going to be like a huge like impact for her. And also for my mother-in-law, because like my mother-in-law is sick. So if we get to move like far, it will be so hard for Johnny.
We knew it was going to be a big change for all of us. But just the thought that we can have that opportunity, it played with us, and we kind of held on to that hope.
How I learned about the Habitat community program is a pretty funny story, because how I first learned about it was from one of my old friends, my old buddies, and how he was telling me him and his family were working on a project to build their own home. And he was telling me how much it's helping him and his family move from the old apartment they lived in to a new, nice house. And he was telling me how much he worked on the house, just being there every weekend, building it. And for me, I thought it was just funny how he was telling me that, because I thought it was a lie. I thought you couldn't just like build your house and then get it from that. And I always thought like, oh, you have to buy a house, and I always like, it's so expensive here in Pasadena, like how are you gonna be able to afford it? Once I told my dad about it, he jumped on it and he started looking into how to be a partner to Habitat and how to get our own home. And from there, like that's when the journey happened. My dad told me a couple months later, he was like, you made it to the list, we got chosen.
And I announced it to them, and it was, we all got tear-eyed. We were all pretty, we couldn't believe it. We knew there was still some work to do, but just to know that we were in that selection and those few, the lucky ones and blessed ones to even be considered, I mean, it was one, a relief, and one knowing that it was going to be life-changing in a positive way. Being able to work with a lot of the community that came out during the builds was probably one of the most special emotional feelings. Every single person that we met always, would greet us and, would bless us. Everyone wrote something in these walls, did some sort of prayer to it or some wish, messages. To be able to know that somebody went out of their way to do something like that out of their own heart, their own free time, and they put their sweat and tears and everything into this too. I couldn't believe how much of a community it really is here, and how much Habitat really does that for a lot of the families. It's like an extension of a family. So I got really close with the construction crew here when Luis was here, Heidi, John, and some of the usuals that would come out, the volunteers that we met all the time. We got to share some really good stories, good tips and building stuff. I mean, it's overwhelming with emotion, but knowing that they just care so much about you. So this process has changed our lives in ways we probably never really imagined it was going to go. So it brought the whole idea that, you know, the dreams do come true. The first time we walked in this door, knowing that everything was built and everything was ready and we're finally moving in, I think it was really breathtaking.
Yeah.
And it was like a tearjerker, if anything, really, because we got really emotional knowing that this is actually happening right now.
That's when actually like hit me, that I was like, okay, it is true. Like, you know, this is my house. And until that day that we walking into the house, that's when I was like, wow, actually it is real.
But knowing that we were finally here and that was it, like we're not going back anymore. And we didn't have to do everything we talked about before. You know, no one was going to be affected by, you know, losing friends, going to different schools and adjusting to life and college at different places and work and everything. So it all came down to that night, and
it was just
really meant a lot for us.
a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it really meant a lot for us. So I hope everyone can give their time to Habitat. They're a really great, community. So to be able to fill everyone's dreams, just like how they did with ours, and I hope you guys find it in your hearts to keep giving. Thank you.